Hi everyone, so today I've got a project here using brush lettering along with some vinyl with the scan and cut. So I'll just talk you through what I did to get this name on my daughter's door with the beautiful copper and gold. So first of all I used brush lettering and I wrote her name out. So I didn't do any of the lines too thin. I used quite a thick black pen, just filling in any little gaps. Any really thin lines I went over as well. I'm doing this on a plain white piece of paper, no lines, no grids, no dots or anything like that. And you can't see it, but I did go do it in pencil first. Okay, so just touch everything up there, and then I popped it into my scanning mat. So this is the plain one with no grid underneath and the liner over the top. I loaded this into my scan and cut here, so it's really hard keeping everything in shot for you, and I have sped this up. So I loaded it in and I just did the scanning to save sheen. So that's as simple as that. I could then get rid of that Isabel sign. I don't need that anymore. That's now in my computer. I pressed the middle section, which actually cuts out the outside lines and the inside of the letters, like the L, the B, the E's, everything inside would also be cut out, and I cropped that as well. So I dragged those arrows just to crop that. So that's all I'm looking at now. There was a line around the outside of the page. Okay, so I then pressed OK with that, and I'm happy with that, so I saved it. So now we've got to choose where to save it to. So I saved it to my machine. Just took a few seconds, and there we go, that's now saved. Okay, so then I could go back, and then what I wanted to do is go back to the home and go to my patterns, and it's actually there in Save Data. Now I have already done a test cut with this. So you'll find if you go to the last page, so I go up to the last page, there it is, there's my image at the size I scanned it. So what I want to do now is select everything by pressing these 3 red squares, and then I want to group them all together. Okay, so now I can resize. So I just resized that as large as it would go. So I took that up until it wouldn't go any further. I made sure that it was in the center, nothing was hitting the edges, and it would go as big as it possibly would. Okay, and when I'm happy with that, I pressed OK. There we go. So now it's ready to cut, so I got that ready. I haven't quite pressed the play button yet. I'll show you the settings in the blade actually as well. So I've got here the cut pressure down to 1 because we're doing vinyl. Now the speed is always 5, and what I did there is I pressed cut. I haven't pressed the green play button there yet. What I'm going to do is load up my mat. I've got the vinyl, I'll leave the backing on. Okay, so put that down with the shiny side up. Now there's some creases in my vinyl, so I've just lined this up, covering the area that I want, and then I've lost my spatula, so I used a business card just to smooth out those creases. So I'm really concentrating on the area where the word's going to be, so press them every direction until you can get them really smoothed out. This also helps to sort of burnish it onto your mat. So I've pushed all the creases down. That's a nice smooth surface now. I'm not going to be cutting any lower. There's my test piece. What you want is for the vinyl to be cut but not the backing sheet, so adjust if you need to. And what I've actually got on here is the blade. If you have a look at this, the blade is set on my machine to 3, and that's with a standard blade. Okay, so I popped that back in and I found that worked perfectly. So I loaded my mat and I was just ready to go. So I've sped this up obviously, so you can really see, you don't have to sit and watch what's happening there. And then put that away and release this. So I released the backing paper first, and that is all intact as you'll see. So quickly cover up your mat, keep the stickiness there, press that down so no dust gets on it. So I'm going to trim that down and then release the backing, and the words should remain on your backing sheet there. So it all comes away beautifully, and there's your writing. Anything much slimmer than that and you would probably struggle with recognising them and getting a nice neat cut. So doing anything too small or fine on this wouldn't work, but this is about the perfect size. As you can see, I stretched it almost to 12 inches across. Just picking out all the detail there. I nearly forgot the end of the E there, so just pick that out. And then I've got some transfer sheets. Now I actually got these off Amazon. I got quite a big pack, so they're sort of sticky on one side, lightly sticky. I laid that over the word, burnish everything down, and then gently peeled it off. And as I peeled it off, I was just making sure that it was picking up everything by giving it an extra burnish at the edge before I lifted it. So you'll see some I'll pull away and then lay back down like so, and lift that up again. So do that for the whole word, and there we go. Now that is ready to transfer onto my door. I've put that back onto the backing paper to keep for safekeeping, but I just simply laid it onto the door, burnished it off, and that's it. My daughter's very happy.